Hi, everybody. Radical Gardener. How are you? On Memorial Day weekend, this is Monday and it's Memorial Day. Just having a quiet day at home. Done a lot of reading and did some cooking and some cleaning and worked a little bit outside. It wasn't too terribly hot. But anyways, I'm been honoring my husband. He was ex-special forces, and he was a medic in special forces, and he was very proud of that. And he didn't talk about it very much. Most of those guys don't. They really have this sense of honor, and they just keep things to themselves. They're definitely a different type, and. Because Joe was a medic, he unfortunately, one of the things he encountered, and I don't know if I've talked about this before or not, but he was one of the first ones on the Jim Jones Massacre. And, that did a number on his head. What was that? Was that the late 70s? Something like that. Anyway. So he had quite the transcendental kind of shift because of that, and definitely dealt with some depression for a few years. But he was such a special man, and is a special man. I feel like he's still, he's in another dimension, but he's with me all the time. He was able to turn that into compassion, and that's a very rare thing to do. And a lot of people, once they're traumatized, but he was able to. That led into creating a compassionate heart, So yeah, I really don't miss Joe because I feel like he's with me all the time. It's pretty great. So, and. Yeah, I talked to him just like he's here. Yeah. Okay, so what do we want to talk about today? Well, see, how do I get into this? When I was, this is about hair and braids and letting your hair grow, and what's the spiritual meaning behind all of that? Braids are a big deal in many cultures. So when I was studying shamanism and, was working, through the mystery school and stuff like that, I had this really strong connection to the elfin culture. And if you don't believe in elves, you ought to go to Iceland for a few days, because 90% of the people there believe in elves. They all look like elves. All of them look like elves to me. And they actually, when they're building roads, they detour them around where they know there are elf habitats. And of course, this information has just gotten passed down generation after generation. And I watched an episode sometime back of Destination Truth, which is a really fun show, but they used to go out and investigate things like this. And I remember when they set up in Iceland, and they were set up in several places where there was supposed to be an elf colony, and like all their cameras went haywire, their batteries, all of a sudden didn't have any juice. Their cameras were knocked over. There was definitely something going on, right? It's a pretty interesting episode. But anyway, when I was, because during that time that I was studying all these things, I would always, I did a lot of meditation and what have you. And I connected to this elf culture in a meditation. And one of the visuals I got is that they handed me braids, and the braids were a gift to me, and they were for knowledge. They were, they're rewarding me for, doing my work and studying and, just pursuing wisdom. Okay. So I just never forgot that, and I don't talk about it. And who are you going to talk about to that? Well, why not a bunch of strangers on YouTube? Anyway, so there's always been this thing about braids, and so I thought, okay, well, let me do a little research and let's see what some of these cultures think, because I just kind of got this loud and clear, actually, a couple of months back, but then I really acknowledge it and I've embraced it now. And it's like, don't cut your hair anymore, and as much as you can, wear braids. And when I'm finding out that when you braid your hair in the morning, that you do that in prayer, and that's what like the Native Americans did, and a lot of the indigenous tribes, is that when they would do their braid their hair, they would be in meditation or in prayer. So anyway, so I found this one site called Spirit Lodge, and it's a library for Native American symbology. And so it's pretty interesting here. They talk about braids, and it says, hair is a physical representation, an extension of our thought and of our spiritual essence, our strength. This is why when a loved one crosses over, a lot of times a person will cut their hair and send it with the loved one. It is strength to help them on their journey. A braid is 3 bunches of hair braided into one. Reminds us of the strength and unity. We are stronger together than alone. We are stronger together than we are alone. The 3 groups of hair can mean many things. They can be like the Lakota virtues. One stands for bravery, one for fortitude. In facing life, fortitude is internal, facing our problems without burdening others, living with our pains. One for generosity, taking care of those less fortunate than us, the elders and the young ones, the feeble and the infirm. Together they make the 4th virtue, which is wisdom, which comes after years of living the others. So I think it's pretty interesting. I want to have braids when I'm going to be turning 71. The 3 can also represent, and what I most often think of when I braid my hair, love, honor, and respect, which together make the basis of all our relationships and are what make us human. By offering love, honor, and respect to all, we are fulfilling our places on the earth. We are human. So I most often wear my hair anymore in braids and free. Okay. Another way of looking at it is the 3 represent body, mind, and spirit, which together makes us whole. That's pretty cool. There are many more teachings about braids in the world. I would imagine every culture has some, either about braids or just hair. Native people see their hair as spiritual power, and many view the 3 strands as past, present, and future together. Others feel it is a means of joining themselves with their ancestors and descendants, and allowing someone to braid one's hair also allows them to partake in that power. Because of the latter belief, deciding to allow someone to braid one's hair is a very important decision to make. The Finnish people believed those who made beautiful braids could also tame the winds, so braiding was a valuable skill. I'd like to get better at it. There's so many different kinds of braids. So let's go back to this other link that I found. You can hear my chimes out there, don't they sound pretty? And this one is from a website. Can you believe there's a website for everything? You had like baby puke website. Hair studies, braids, and dreads. Micro braids, goddess braids, Ghana braids, snake, mohawk, Dutch, French, halo, fishtail, waterfall. It seems there are as many types of braids as there are types of hair. Where did braids originate? Africa. And they have the most famous and intricate braids or plates, but braids have been worn around the world. The oldest record of braids is a carved statuette of unknown origin called Venus or Woman of Willendorf, estimated to have been made 30,000 years ago as a fertility fetish, which features woven hair capping a voluptuous body. Egypt. Ancient Egyptians have a reputation for invention, including paper, toothpaste, calendars, math, and even condoms. And while they may not have invented braiding, combining 3 strands of material into one, their hairstyles reflected wealth, age, and social group. Young girls wore braids or ponytails. Royalty wore braided wigs, as did elders to hide the lack of hair or grayness. Then Greece, and they braided in such a way as to distinguish themselves from the Egyptians. Italy, detailed hairstyles came into fashion as an expression of wealth and status. Americas, the Native American hair, signifier of one's spiritual practice. Combing presents the alignment of thought. Braiding is the oneness of thought. And tying is the securing of thought. Flowing strands of hair are considered individually weak, but when joined in braids, they demonstrate strength and unity. Letting hair flow free demonstrates harmony with the flow of life, and braiding indicates thoughts of oneness. I could feel, when I braid in the morning, I really do it sort of in meditation. I brush my hair really slowly, and then I divide it. I don't know, there's something about it I'm really enjoying. I know it's just braids, but then it's not, So yeah, and then I started to think, well, our hair is attached to us, so our hair, I think, acts also as an antenna. So, having longer hair may serve us very well. And then I was just looking at, well, what else are like senses that we, like we know taste is a sense. We have smell. And there was one here that I'd never really heard before. This is hearing, right? Touch, but our skin, just our skin. We get the chills, we get goosebumps. I don't know. That's really a big, huge sense organ. And then here it says the vestibular. The vestibular system explains the perception of our body in relation to gravity, movement, and balance. This system measures acceleration, g-force, body movements, and head position. Examples of the system in practice include knowing that you are moving when you are in an elevator, knowing whether you are lying down or sat up, and being able to walk along a balance beam. Obviously, mine's not that developed because I never could walk across a balance beam. So that is our vestibular system, vestibular. Then we have another one here. Proprioception. Proprioception is the sense of the relative position of neighboring parts of the body and strength of effort being employed in movement. This sense is very important as it lets us know exactly where our body parts are, how we are positioned in space, and to plan our movements. Examples of our proprioception in practice include being able to clap our hands together with our eyes closed, write with a pencil and apply with correct pressure, and navigate through a narrow space. Did you know that? No. So it's really cooling off, and if I have the energy, I'll go for a walk outside. I think I'd like to wait until tomorrow. Do a little cleanup first. We'll see what happens. You know how I am. I just go with the flow. Feeling good. And I don't know. Feeling really at peace. I'm excited about what's coming down the pike. This summer is going to be bonkers, so you do know that, right? You guys know to prep. So remember, pet food. They're going to go after that. Now they're going after strawberries. Yeah, pretty soon though. And then there was this article. You're going to love this. It was like in, I don't know, one of the main rags, that restaurants are putting bugs on the menu. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go to a restaurant to eat bugs. There you go. I'll make sure to do that. Um, so my reply was, well, they can literally bug off because, first of all, I'm never eating bugs, and I don't want to. There's plenty of food for me. I have all my prep food, and so I'll just eat that instead. Oh my God, bugs, honestly. Next is Soylent Green. Just kidding. Maybe not. All right, you guys. Pretty chill today, but wanted to touch base with you. Radical Gardener, from my garden to yours. May your garden always grow. Sending you a ton of love. Okay, see you later. Goodbye.